Half a day, everybody. This is KOM News Extra. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, and thanks for joining us tonight. We will be talking about pancakes for charities later on in the program. Plus, we show how Calvo's Insurance is celebrating its 75 years of prosperity and business right here on the island. But first, we are going to talk about the University of Guam. My good friend, Dr. Robert Underwood, the distinguished academic and president, former congressman, and the president of the university right now. And we are going to talk, Doc, about UOG's Island Sustainability Conference. Very, very apropos at this time, because one thing that many Guamanians don't realize, because we live on this wonderful island and there's so many wonderful things to do, people don't realize that there are not an infinite supply of the resources that we have. So how are you guys approaching sustainability? Because this always comes up.
Well, sustainability for us is trying to find the appropriate model for us in terms of energy, in terms of our economy, in terms of our relationship to the environment, to our resources, and find a way that we can continue to use those things without exhausting them. And that's an issue, because most of our thinking about the economy and the way we run things is predicated upon models from North America or from the Asian mainland. And so the whole concept of a Center for Island Sustainability is to find that appropriate model to discuss and to interact, to critique, always on the basis of evidence, to find that appropriate model. So we created the Center for Island Sustainability for that particular purpose.
Now, typically, that problem is attacked from two different, like a two-pronged attack, if you will.
Right.
There's the conservation side, which is, finding out the resources that we do have, like with water and even produce and such and everything, and find out how we can't squander that off and how to make it last longer. And then also with new models and with the benefits that technology brings about, like with energy and everything. We'll talk about that in a minute. As far as conservation, how are we approaching things like that, like with the water lens and like resources?
Well, it's all about education. It's all about making sure that people are aware that the resources are not finite. And the interesting thing is we have, as part of the CIS conference, is a green home competition. The high school students are ahead of us on this. They clearly understand what the challenges are. And I think, young people, particularly those who are actually coming to maturity in this century, are focused on issues like food and water and energy and the environment and changes in the climate. And so when you ask people, what are the big world problems? Somebody my age might think, geez, it's global strategic positioning or big nation conflict. But you ask somebody who's a teenager, they say, I want to know about our water supply. I want to know about our food supply. And that's very engaging and very important, because the conservation agenda is not just about living the way people used to live. It's about applying all of our knowledge today in order to be able to sustain a modern lifestyle but not exhaust our resources.
Now, with newer models that are applied, as so we've got one side of the coin. How about the other one? And you talk specifically about energy, and it's kind of laughable in a sense, but it's also very encouraging how those of us have lived on Guam for 30, 40, 50 years, and only now solar power and photovoltaics are really starting to be on the up and up. We live in an island that's got 10 months of summer every year, and we're directly under the sunlight. And now people are really starting to apply these different models, because the technology on a consumer level is starting to get more affordable.
Well, the technology is affordable, but it's more the consciousness. Because if you use renewables, the upside of using renewables is not just waiting until they become affordable, is that you keep your money on island. So if you're able to, and our island goal, out of the Guam Energy Task Force is 20% renewables by the year 2020. If you did that, 20 by 20, then you're able to keep $60–70 million on island instead of buying fossil fuel. And what does $60 or $70 million mean when you keep it? It means more economic activity. It means more sustainability. The same thing we do when we talk about growing agricultural products. It's not that everybody's going to become a farmer, but it's understanding that the more food we raise on island, the less money we ship off island, the more we strengthen our society, the more we generate new economic activities, and the more we become sustainable. So it's a whole new way of looking at life, rather than constantly thinking for the cheapest, most affordable way. There's some things, that we live on a small island. And we live in an island that is far from many places where there are supply lines.
And the intent of this conference is to actually plan for future generations. Perhaps during your lifetime and my lifetime, we may not even be walking planet Earth anymore, but we're doing this to sustain it for our grandchildren's grandchildren.
That's right. So people ask me, what policies can we put in place today to protect our environment? I say the best thing we can do is to make sure that we educate the next generation about the environment, and you let them figure out the policies. You let them figure out the energy problems. So the Center for Island Sustainability, we have a conference, 2-day conference, starts tomorrow. Our keynote speaker tomorrow is Ambassador Ronnie Germeau from the Seychelles Islands. He's one of the world's leading authorities on climate change. He's going to talk to us about the threat to low-lying island atoll nations, but more importantly, he's going to explain how this all fits in and how the whole notion of islands talking to other islands about their problems can help enrich not only just island nations, but indeed the whole world.
Now, a couple moments ago, Doctor, you also mentioned fossil fuels, and I'm very glad that you did, because one of the methods of new energy that's being considered right now, aside from fossil fuel and coal, is nuclear. Will the conference touch on that, and maybe some edge topics as well?
Well, it could. People have raised that in the past, but we're also taking a look at LNG. So what is the role of LNG? If LNG is going to be a transition, it's going to be a transition to more renewables. Will it put renewables out of focus? Because LNG is a more likely reality. I certainly understand that than nuclear energy, because nuclear energy, there's some discussion about making it in more compact form so you can use it in small societies, but you say nuclear and people run away. So there's also public acceptability, there's also public policy attached to that.
Okay, so obviously this is a fascinating topic with many implications that span so many different industries. I would assume that the audience for this is going to be very diverse and very widespread. So where is this going to be at, and how much is it to
All right, it's $85, and it's at the Hyatt, and it's for 2 days. And we have high school students, we have community college students from around the region, we have people from private industry, we have people who are interested in commercial applications, we have people who are going to speak on how to finance a more sustainable future at your home. And we also have academics who are going to talk about resource protection and how we renew our resources. So all of this is really part of our agenda. The University of Guam wants to contribute to evidence-based debate. This is not about emotion, it's about evidence. And so climate change fits into that, our energy policy fits into that, and the best thing that I saw today was the Green Home competition. We have high school students who are imagining the future in ways that those of us who are a little bit older can't seem to get to.
All right, well, there's certainly going to be a lot of people there. Some of them will be KUM reporters, and we can't wait to cover it for you. So we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Jason.
Always a pleasure. All right, stay tuned, because we are back after this.